meeting formally. The last time that we met was on the 19th of November. We had a similar meeting here in this conference room. Since then, several developments have taken place in Jammu and Kashmir. We have encroachment drive, we have property tax, we have demolition, we have some comments from the Supreme Court of India and similar things. So it's time to examine some of them and find out how can we contribute in improving the situation in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. The purpose of discussion of this kind is that whenever you have many friends who assemble, they assemble here to contribute their thoughts and try to understand the point of view of other friends who hold a different point of view. I have my friend on my left, Ashok Khan. He's in a hurry and he wants to go, which we normally doesn't happen, not with him nor with any other participant. So I would request him to offer his comment and then we will have other friends to speak. Ashok Khan, next 5 minutes are yours.
Thank you, Shah Sahab. खामोशी है गुफ्तगू पे जुबान है जुबान मेरी. This is what has happened to Kashmir. Kashmir is silenced, and it's not silenced for progression. It is silenced for so-called mainstreaming. Whether mainstreaming will happen through silence, through a muscular policy, or as Kalhana used to say long back in olden days, that you can win Kashmiris by love and never by force. Then there was no Muslim in Kashmir. He has said it about Kashmiri violence. Because maybe there have been some social strife in the community then. But all Muslims from Aborigine Kashmiris who have converted to Islam are today the natives. And there are some settlers also who have come from outside. But the fact remains, Kalhana holds good today also. As I said, ये खामोशी जो है कश्मीर में, ये कब्रिस्तान की खामोशी ना बन जाए. ये एक खुशी की खामोशी अगर बन सकती है, तो एक सुधार और परिवर्तन हमारी पॉलिसी फ्रेम में होना चाहिए. क्योंकि I was optimistic when Prime Minister initiated a dialogue with the mainstream political parties some time back. And he pronouncedly said, दिल की और दिल्ली से दूरी को मिटाना है. And all the mainstream politicians and politics of Kashmir, including those who have not for some reason been part of the mainstream for their own political reasons, even they welcomed this statement of the Prime Minister. I'll not name them as a group, but that is also a very large political opinion in Kashmir that is not tended to be part of mainstream for their own reasons. Even those groupings and those political opinion welcomed the Prime Minister's statement. And all the tall leaders present in the meeting, including Dr. Farooq Kotala, Mahbooba Mufti, Ram Nabi Azad, and galaxy of all other leaders, They thought that there is a genuineness in it, and they thought that there is a genuine opening, and we may have to tread a path which will be in the interest of the people. And they started their political activities with that purpose and in that direction. But that direction went astray. Whether it is the woolly decision and wooden-handed policy of the LG administration, or it has an endorsement from the Britain, is yet to be discerned, because the local unit of the ruling party says that New Delhi has nothing to do with what is happening on ground today. If it is the wooden-headed policy of the LG administration, then the Kashmiri opinion and Kashmiri leadership, like Muzaffar is standing in front of a bulldozer and saying that enough is enough, then you will not face only one Muzaffar, you will face the entire population of Kashmir. Do you want that to happen in Kashmir again? You made tall promises after making 370 inoperable. And those tall promises including so many things. And one of the foremost inclusion was that those populations who have left Kashmir for law and order situation or by militancy will be repatriated soon and with dignity back in the valley. And we are seeing the plight of those Kashmiri Pandits who are on the roads of Jammu and Srinagar. Nothing is turning around. Even the LG administration makes it worse, even for civil society like us to intervene. So we caution LG administration to keep off this hard initiatives for a while and engage himself and his administration into a positive dialogue process with the civil society and all the concerned. That's my only request as a thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan. We have Sajad from Kargil representing Ladakh. They were protesting for a while in Jantar Mantar. Would you like to intervene and offer your comments now? And Aarti ji, whenever you want.
That should be the last. I want to listen to all the elders first.
Sabhi ko salam, namaste. I'm very glad to be here among all of you, and I'm very thankful to Shah Sahib for organizing this wonderful and fruitful session. जहाँ तक मैं लद्दाख की बात करें तो मेरा नाम सजाद हुसैन है and I'm member of Kargil Democratic Alliance, and we are now struggling for 4-point demand of Kargil Democratic Alliance and apex body, that is statute for Ladakh, 6th schedule, constitutional guarantees under 6th schedule for Ladakh. We are also demanding early recruitments, job protections, and Ladakh Public Service Commission, and also separate representation for Kargil and Leh for Ladakh. तो ये हमारी 4 अहम डिमांड्स हैं। 5 अगस्त 2019 को जब लद्दाख और जम्मू कश्मीर को 2 अलग-अलग यूटीज में तकसीम किया गया था, there was a huge difference between Kargil and Leh. People of Kargil were opposing abrogation of Article 370 and they were protesting on the streets, while in Leh people were celebrating. और इस celebration और इस खुशी और गम के बीच में एक बहुत बड़ी लकीर इन 2 सोसाइटीज के बीच में थी। 2 अलग-अलग धर्म के लोग थे, 2 अलग-अलग सोच रखने वाले लोग थे। लेकिन धीरे-धीरे जब ये एहसास होने लगा लद्दाख के अंदर कि हमें पूरी तरीके से डिसएम्पावर किया गया है, लद्दाख के लोगों की वॉइस खत्म की गई है, लद्दाख के लोगों को कोई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल सेफगार्ड इस वक्त नहीं है। आप जम्मू कश्मीर को जब यूटी बनाया गया तो जम्मू कश्मीर को एज ए लेजिस्लेचर यूनियन यूटी विद लेजिस्लेचर, हालांकि इलेक्शन नहीं हुए हैं लेकिन बराए नाम कागज पे यूटी विद लेजिस्लेचर है। लेकिन लद्दाख को बिल्कुल एक, क्योंकि ये जो यूनियन टेरिटरी का कंसेप्ट है ये कॉलोनियल कंसेप्ट है, ये कोई डेमोक्रेटिक थॉट है नहीं। और बुरी तरीके से 3 साल पूरे लद्दाख में देखा, न सिर्फ ऐसा कि कारगिल के लोग या फिर लेह के लोग, पूरे लद्दाख में सिवाय रूलिंग पार्टी के अलावा पूरा लद्दाख आज इस वक्त मुत्तहिद है। और ये एक बहुत बड़ा एग्जाम्पल है कश्मीर के लोगों के लिए, जम्मू के लोगों के लिए भी, कि इस वक्त एक ऐसे दौर में है जहां हमें मैक्सिमम यूनिटी की जरूरत है। और जब तक मैक्सिमम यूनिटी नहीं होगी तो बोले शायर ये है कि मुत्तहिद हो तो बदल डालो जमाने का निजाम, मुंतशिर हो तो मरो, शोर मचाते क्यों हो। बिल्कुल यही एग्जाम्पल है। और आज मैं देख रहा हूँ कि लद्दाख के लोगों ने यूनिटी के साथ न सिर्फ रूलिंग पार्टी की तरफ से बहुत सारे कम्युनल टेंशन को बढ़ावा देने के अटेम्प्ट्स भी हुए, उसको फेल करते हुए हमारे बुद्धिस्ट कम्युनिटी के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स ने, वहाँ के लीडर्स ने बहुत संजीदगी से इसको संभाला, और मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी के लीडर्स ने भी इसको बहुत अच्छे से संभाला। और यहाँ आप देखेंगे कि यहाँ जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस है, आम आदमी पार्टी है, कांग्रेस है, इनके अंदर बहुत अपने अपने पार्टी डिफरेंसेस हैं, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी ये लोग सब एक प्लेटफॉर्म पे हैं। और आज लद्दाख का जो मैं कहूँगा जैसे इन्वायरमेंट है वो एक बहुत बड़े खतरे से जा रहा है। एक तरफ हमारी सरकार G20 के यहाँ पे प्रोग्राम्स ऑर्गेनाइज कर रही है, लद्दाख दिखाने ले जाएंगे, कुछ दिन बाद डल झील वगैरह भी दिखाएंगे, लेकिन जो एक नारा लग रहा है कि 1 अर्थ 1 फैमिली का, तो उसमें जो लद्दाख का क्लाइमेट है या हमारे जो बहुत तेजी से मेल्ट डाउन होने वाले ग्लेशियर्स हैं, वो उसको एक संरक्षण की जरूरत है, प्रोटेक्शन की जरूरत है। और जिसके लिए 6 शेड्यूल एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट जो है, वो 370 तो अब रहा नहीं क्योंकि अब वो कोर्ट में है, और जब तक कोर्ट का फैसला आता है हतमी तौर पर किसी न किसी हमें एक प्रोटेक्शन की जरूरत है, और वो प्रोटेक्शन आपको 6 शेड्यूल में मिलता है। इसीलिए मैं ये समझता हूँ कि ये जो 6 शेड्यूल की लद्दाख की डिमांड है, ये सिर्फ लद्दाख की ही डिमांड नहीं है, पूरे हिमालयन रीजन को भी, पूरे जम्मू कश्मीर को भी इसमें सपोर्ट करना चाहिए, क्योंकि लद्दाख का अगर क्लाइमेट और यहाँ का वातावरण प्रोटेक्ट रहता है तो उससे पूरे इस रीजन को फायदा होगा। और इसके साथ साथ में एक चीज, जिस तरीके से वहाँ पे कॉर्पोरेट जो लॉबी है उनकी जो नजरें हैं लद्दाख की तरफ, और वो जिस तरीके से स्पेशल इकोनॉमिक जोन्स बनाने की जो प्रोग्रामिंग चल रही है, प्लानिंग चल रही है, इसको लेकर बहुत सीरियस है लद्दाख के अवाम। और मुझे ये लगता है कि सरकार ने जो 5 अगस्त का जो हरी डिसीजन लिया, एक जल्दबाजी में जो एक डिसीजन लिया, उसमें कहीं भी विजन नामी कोई चीज नहीं था। और आज भी अगर आप देखेंगे लद्दाख को लेकर के भी, पहले ये जो प्रॉब्लम थी आपको कश्मीर वैली में सिर्फ आपको नजर आती थी, कुछ हिस्सों में कश्मीर के, आज लेकिन दुखी हर इंसान है। इवन कल दुख का ये चेहरा मैंने रविंदर रैना साहब के चेहरे में भी देखा कि कल वो जिस तरीके से मीडिया फेस कर रहे थे तो मुझे उसके चेहरे से गम नजर आ रहा था। तो ये गम जो है हर तरफ है, और मेरी ये रिक्वेस्ट है कि ये जो बॉर्डर एरियाज में रहने वाले लोग, वो इस देश की ताकत है, और लोगों को गले से लगाने की जरूरत है, दीवार से धकेलने की कोशिश न की जाए, सिर्फ अपने ईगो को सेटिस्फाई करने के लिए, और अपने एक आइडियलिस्टिक जो आपका एक नोशन है आगे लेकर के जाया जा रहा है, जिसका कोई आपको ग्राउंड में जिसकी कोई एग्जिस्टेंस या रियलिटी नहीं है, उसको फुलफिल करने के लिए जिस तरह की चीजें हो रही हैं, मुझे लगता है उससे कोई हल नहीं होगा। आज हमारे सामने यूक्रेन और रशिया है, जो जंगे लड़ रहे हैं। जंग शुरू हुई, 1 साल खत्म हुआ, लेकिन जंग खत्म होने का नाम नहीं ले रहा है। लेकिन कल ये जो मामलात हैं वो टेबल पे ही हल होने वाले हैं इन 2 मुल्कों के, इतनी डिस्ट्रक्शन, इतनी तबाही के बाद। तो इसलिए मेरी गुजारिश है कि सरकार से भी यही गुजारिश है इस प्लेटफॉर्म के माध्यम से, कि वो अपने ही अवाम से जंग न लड़े, अपने ही अवाम को तंग करना बंद कर दे, और लोगों को पीसफुली और एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल जो राइट्स हैं उसके अंदर जीने का अधिकार मिलना चाहिए। मैं आप तमाम लोगों का एक बार फिर शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, आपका भी सर, कि आपने ये मौका प्रदान किया। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
Thank you.
Thank you, Shahzad, for inviting us once again to discuss our trials and tribulation. I think it's more than 40 years since you started this campaign of discussing Kashmir. And for the last 40 years, we have been just discussing have been organizing these conferences, these debates under the title Jammu and Kashmir, the way out, the way forward. But I don't think we have moved an inch forward. During all these 40 years, the situation has been going from bad to worse. And just people, what my friend Sajjad was saying, that a fruitful discussion. Unfortunately, these discussions have never proved to be fruitful. But again, still we are thankful to you that you are providing us a platform at least to lick our wounds, those wounds which have been inflicted upon us by the different regimes during the last 70 years, I think 75 years. So Kashmir, I don't think Kashmir is a small problem, encouragement, or it's a problem. It's a history of unkept promises. It's a history of fake narratives. And today we have reached a point where our very existence is being challenged. Today, मैं ये कहूँगा कि आज तक जो कुछ भी होता रहा है, now our survival और आज हमारे वजूद के लिए खतरा पैदा किया गया, उसको चैलेंज किया जा रहा है. And आज वो बलडोजर लेके हमारे सामने आ गए हैं. 5 अगस्त 2019 को उन्होंने हमारा आईन, हमारा झंडा, हमारा सब कुछ छीन कर पूरी रियासत को जेल में तब्दील करके, उसके बाद जैसे वो कहते हैं कि born from the blue, ऐसे ऑर्डर्स हर सुबह आते हैं, ऐसे फरमान जारी किए जा रहे हैं जो सिर्फ और सिर्फ डेमोक्रेटिकली इलेक्टेड गवर्नमेंट्स को करने चाहिए. वो वहां की अफसरशाही ऐसे फरामीन लेकर सामने आ जाती है, पता नहीं किन लोगों को खुश करने के लिए, और रात दिन जम्मू कश्मीर को तबाह करने के लिए, बर्बाद करने के लिए, हमारे रिसोर्सेज को दो हाथों से लूटने के लिए जो इस वक्त वहां पे काम हो रहा है. अभी कुछ लोग कह रहे थे, पान साहब कह रहे थे कि वाकई वहां पे कब्रिस्तान की खामोशी जो है वो पैदा की जा रही है, वो नाफिज की जा रही है. और इस स्टोरी का सबसे अनफॉर्चुनेट पार्ट of this story is that what they call the Indian civil society, they are drawing a sadistic pen from our trials and tribulations from our death. मैं देख रहा था कि जब से बुलडोजर लेकर हमारे सामने आ गए, तब से एनिमल वेलफेयर बोर्ड ऑफ इंडिया ने यहाँ पे एक एडवाइजरी जारी की थी कि आप उस वैलेंटाइन डे के दिन गायों को गले लगाइए. उसी दिन हमारी गांव खानों को तबाह किया जा रहा था कश्मीर. उसी दिन बुलडोजर लेकर उन गायों, उन मासूम और उन बेजुबान गायों को भी नहीं बख्शा जा रहा था. और कहा जा रहा भाई कागज दिखाओ. अरे भाई क्या कागज दिखाएं? पिछले 70 साल से इलेक्टेड गवर्नमेंट्स ने जो यहाँ पे कानून बनाए, चाहे यहाँ की रोशनी हो, चाहे शेर कश्मीर शेख गुप्ता की तरफ से बनाए हुए कानून हो, जिसने पूरे भारत के बरक्स वहां के लैंडलेस लोगों को, वहां के दलित समाज को जमींदार बना दिया. रात को वो एक काश्तकार की तरह, एक गुलाम की तरह सोए और सुबह वो जमीनों के मालिक बने थे. उन कानून को भी आप चैलेंज कर रहे हैं. और अभी आपने एक वीडियो वायरल होते हुए देखा है, 1835 की एक प्रॉपर्टी को गिराया जा रहा था. जब न भारत आजाद हुआ था, न पाकिस्तान का वजूद था, तो वहां तक ये पहुंच गए हैं कि 150 साल पीछे के हमारे कागजात हमसे पूछते हैं. और जो कानून इलेक्टेड गवर्नमेंट्स ने बनाए, उनको एक तहसीलदार को ऊपर से हुक्म दिया जा रहा है कि तुम ट्रांसफर हो जाओगे, और वो आकर हमारी प्रॉपर्टी को गिराया जा रहा है. तो मुझे बताइए, इससे बड़ा जुल्म, इससे बड़ा जबर और क्या हो सकता है? और नेशनल मीडिया में बैठ कर ये बताया जा रहा है कि जम्मू कश्मीर के लोग एनक्रोचर्स हैं, वो लैंड ग्रैबर्स हैं, ये पत्थरबाज हैं, और एक नैरेटिव बनाया जा रहा है. और पूरे भारत, मुझे अफसोस है कि पूरे भारत की सिविल सोसाइटी, मैं आज बतौर खास आया था मिस्टर प्रोफेसर मनोज झा को उनका शुक्रिया अदा करने के लिए, जिस तरीके से उन्होंने जम्मू कश्मीर के पेन को, वहां के दुख दर्द को पार्लियामेंट में आपने जो है पार्लियामेंटेरियंस के साथ शेयर करने की कोशिश की. और आज की तारीख में वो जम्मू कश्मीर के सबसे मकबूल पॉलिटिकल फेस बन चुके हैं, इस वजह से कि उन्होंने कहा कि कश्मीर जो है वो कताई अर्जी नहीं है, बल्कि वहाँ के लोग हैं, वहाँ की वैल्यूज है, वहाँ की संस्कृति है, उसको आप बुलडोज कर रहे हैं, तो कश्मीर का नाम क्यों लेते हैं? तो बहरहाल मैं ये जानना चाहूंगा कि मैं समझता हूँ कि हम एक ऐसे अंधेरे की तरफ जा रहे हैं जहाँ पे कोई उम्मीद की किरण नहीं है. और इस सब का जो है खतरनाक पहलू ये है कि ये सब करने के लिए उनको वोट मिलते हैं.
और पता नहीं उन्होंने इतनी मेहनत से, और ये वो कहते हैं ना कि पिछले कई वर्षों से एक टर्म बड़ी मशहूर है कि क्रोनोलॉजी को समझने की जरूरत है। अगर आप पिछले सिर्फ 4-5 साल में देखेंगे, हमारे जम्मू में कुछ इलाके पड़ते हैं, पहले वहां का लैंड रिकॉर्ड जो है वो गायब कर दिया गया, जमाबंदी और मसावी। उसके बाद यहाँ के कुछ टीवी चैनल से, मुझे नाम नहीं लेना चाहिए, वहां पे लैंड जहाज के नाम से प्रोग्राम चलाए गए और बताया गया कि जम्मू कश्मीर के लोग या एक खास तबका जो है लैंड जहाज के जरिए जो है जमीनों पर काबिज हो रहा है। उसके बाद ये वक्त आया कि आप बलडोजर लेकर सामने आ गए हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि जम्मू कश्मीर में वाकई जो है या कब्रिस्तान की खामोशी जो है उसके जरिए से अमल लाना चाहते हैं, तो ये बहुत ही बदकिस्मती की बात है। तो शाह साहब, आपका एक बार फिर से शुक्रिया है। और भारत की सिविल सोसाइटी को, मुझे लगता है अगर आप लोग हमें इंसान समझते हैं, अगर आप लोग हमें ह्यूमन बीइंग समझते हैं, ह्यूमन सेपियन समझते हैं, हमारे दुख दर्द को, हमारी पीड़ा को, हमारे पेन और एगोनी को समझते हुए आपको आगे आना चाहिए और वहां के दौरे करने चाहिए, वहां की रिपोर्ट मरतब करनी चाहिए, इलाकों में जाना चाहिए और देखना चाहिए कि क्या वाकई ये सब कुछ जो है, ये जो हो रहा है, जो इस वक्त अफसरशाही करना, क्या ये इनकी जो है वो उसमें मैंडेट में आता है या ये सब इलेक्टेड गवर्नमेंट्स को करना चाहिए। तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
Thank you very much. May I now request Mudassir Thackeray from North Kashmir to offer his comments, and then Dr. Rana. Mudassir, next 5 minutes yours.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। नमस्कार, आदाब। हाईली थैंकफुल टू ओपी शाह साहब जिसने एक प्लेटफॉर्म क्रिएट किया है, नॉट ओनली फ्रॉम टुडे, इट इज फ्रॉम 1991 एंड आई एम कनेक्टेड टू दिस प्लेटफॉर्म सिंस फ्रॉम 2007। बट आज 317 हटने से पहले की बात और आज की बात में ये फर्क है। मैं शाह साहब से ये रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ, हम हमेशा डिस्कस करते थे इंडो पाक रिलेशंस, अब टाइम हैज कम कि व्हाट इज द रिलेशन बिटवीन जम्मू एंड कश्मीर एंड इंडिया। अब एक कैंपेन चलानी पड़ेगी, रिलेशंस बिटवीन जम्मू एंड कश्मीर एंड इंडिया, क्योंकि अब हमें लग रहा है कि वी आर पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया। आज तक हम कहते थे वी आर इंटीग्रल पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया, मगर आपने 370 हटाया, आपने हमारी आइडेंटिटी हटाई। आई एम द फर्स्ट पर्सन फ्रॉम जम्मू एंड कश्मीर हु टू कैरी द तिरंगा रैली फ्रॉम हलवारा। हमने कहा कि अगर हमारी सरकार कह रही है कि वहां यूथ जो कश्मीर की है वो स्टूल प्लांटिंग करते हैं, दे आर अट्रैक्टेड टू गन कल्चर एंड दे आर अट्रैक्टेड टू द पाकिस्तान स्पॉन्सर्ड एजेंसीज, और हम लोगों ने वहां स्टूल प्लांटिंग छोड़ दी। हमने कहा कि आज तक 70 साल से जो हमारे साथ वादे किए गए थे वो शायद झूठे थे। शायद अब नरेंद्र मोदी लैड सरकार जो है, जो इतने बड़े दावे कर रही है, तो शायद वो धोखे फिर नहीं लगेंगे जो आज तक हुए। तो जैसे ही 370 हटा, यूथ केम इनटू द मेन स्ट्रीम, और वहां आप देखिए हर घर तिरंगा इनिशिएटिव लिया गया। मुझे नहीं लगता कश्मीर का कोई घर होगा जिसने तिरंगा नहीं चढ़ाया होगा। मगर मुझे बताइए दिल्ली क्या कर रही है, दिल्ली क्या चाहती है? अगर कश्मीरियों ने स्टोन प्लांटिंग छोड़ी, अगर कश्मीरियों ने कल्चर छोड़ दिया, अगर कश्मीर ने सब कुछ छोड़ दिया, हम बैठे हैं, हम सिर्फ देख रहे हैं व्हाट इज हैपनिंग। आपके जो वादे थे, आपने जो कानाकशी की थी, कांग्रेस ये कर रही है, कांग्रेस ने ये वादे किए थे, कांग्रेस ने आज तक ये किया, बट आप क्या कर रहे हैं? आप तो हमारे ऊपर नए नए कानून खड़े कर रहे हैं, आप हमारे घर उजाड़ रहे हैं। तो गवर्नमेंट तो उसे कहते हैं जो लोगों के घर बनाए, जो हर सर के ऊपर छत की तैयारी करे, और आप तो कश्मीर का सर से छत छीनना चाहते हैं। आप तो लैंड एलोकेशन के लिए हम अपने नया ही ड्रामा स्टार्ट किया कि मुझे ये समझ नहीं आ रहा कि किसी गरीब का की फेंसिंग आप हटा रहे हैं, और वो फेंसिंग तो 1 फीट की जो फेंसिंग होगी उसमें कौन सी यूनिवर्सिटी बनेगी, उसमें कौन से कॉलेज बनेंगे, और आप 1 फीट 1 मरला 1.5 मरला निकाल रहे हैं, उससे क्या होगा? समझने की बात है। शाह साहब से रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं, इंडो पाक रिलेशंस, जम्मू एंड कश्मीर एंड इंडिया के रिलेशंस पे डिस्कस किया जाए। इनको कहा जाए, जो आज की सरकार है इनको कहा जाए, जैसे शाह साहब ने कहा कि लद्दाख इज विदाउट असेंबली एंड जम्मू एंड कश्मीर इज यूनियन टेरिटरी विद लेजिस्लेशन। कहां पे है शाह साहब? फील के कश्मीर में कोई असेंबली होने वाली है? हमें नहीं लगता। हमें ये कहा गया स्कूल पार्टी खत्म होगी तो वहाँ इलेक्शंस होंगे। हमें ये कहा गया कि वहाँ हड़तालें खत्म होगी तो इलेक्शंस होंगे। हमें ये कहा गया कि जैसे ही वहाँ हालात नॉर्मल होंगे तो कश्मीर स्टेट में रेस्टोर किया जाएगा। कहाँ पे रेस्टोर हुआ? आज तो उतने मर्डर्स, उतने किलिंग्स, उतने इनकाउंटर कश्मीर में नहीं होते जितने बाकी स्टेट्स में मर्डर्स होते हैं। कश्मीर तो इतना सेफ है। मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा कि हम लोग जो यूथ कश्मीर का है, हमने लास्ट ईयर भी आपने आर्टिकल खत्म किया, आपने स्टेट खत्म किया,
उसके बावजूद हमने हिस्टोरिकल रिपब्लिक डे सेलिब्रेट किया श्रीनगर गुरुद्वारा पार्क में, जिसमें 650 लोग यूथ खुद ही आए थे सेलिब्रेट करने के लिए। मुझे ये बताइए दिल्ली कर क्या रही है, यूथ के लिए सोच कर रही है? दिल्ली अगर सिर्फ ये चाहती है कि वहां जबरदस्ती हम जमीन निकाले लोगों से, लोगों के घर उजाड़ दे, लोगों को फिर मजबूर करे कि वो रोडों पे आए, तो शायद तो फिर वही है। तो आप तो चाहते हैं कि कश्मीर का युवा फिर स्कूल पेंटिंग करे, कश्मीर का युवा फिर उस जगह पे पहुंचे जहाँ पे ये 90s से था। तो फिर तो मुझे नहीं लगता पाकिस्तान में और आप में कोई फर्क है। पाकिस्तान में हमें आपके खिलाफ यूज था, पर शायद आप खुद हमें दूर कर रहे हैं। कश्मीर की जो चुप्पी है, कश्मीर की जो साइलेंस है, ये साइलेंस नहीं है। जब भी लावा फटा उससे पहले बहुत साइलेंस होती है, शायद कोई लावा बन रहा है। दिल्ली को चाहिए G20 को छोड़े, बाकी चीजों को छोड़ के पहले कश्मीर को देखे, कश्मीर को अपना है। तो आपने वो चीजें स्टार्ट की है। हमने आपने बोला ह्यूलेट कॉन्फ्रेंस है, अभी कलेक्टर आई एम द पर्सन जिसने ह्यूलेट कॉन्फ्रेंस का बोर्ड उतार दिया। हमने कहा कि ह्यूलेट कॉन्फ्रेंस का बोर्ड उतार के कश्मीर में कोई हड़ताल नहीं होगी। कश्मीर के लोग दिल्ली की ओर आए हैं, 100% कश्मीर के लोग दिल्ली के साथ क्या करने वाले हैं। जो भी आप कानून बनाते हैं, आप जो भी बोलते हैं, चाहे कोई भी इनिशिएटिव आप दिल्ली से लेते हैं, मुझे नहीं लगता कि स्टेट में इतना वो सक्सेसफुल होता है जितना कश्मीर में होता है। सोचने की बात है। मैं शाह साहब से भी रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ, इंस्टेड ऑफ इंडो पाक रिलेशन, इंडो पाक कभी रिलेशन होगी कश्मीर, हमें तो स्कैर बोर्ड बनाया गया जम्मू कश्मीर को। अगर जम्मू कश्मीर स्कैर बोर्ड ही है, पाकिस्तान में इलेक्शन करते हैं सिर्फ जम्मू कश्मीर के होते। अगर आप भी यही 2024 का इलेक्शन जीतना चाहते हैं, कश्मीर के लोगों के छत छीन के, कश्मीर के लोगों को मजबूर करिए, ताकि आप दिखा सके बाकी स्टेट्स को, देखिए हमने कश्मीर में जो मुस्लिम मेजॉरिटी थी उनको हमने इतना तंग किया। तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ शाह साहब से कि प्लीज आप दिल्ली से बात करने की कोशिश करें कश्मीर के बारे में। इंस्टेड ऑफ जो पाकिस्तान की बात करते हैं, पाकिस्तान के साथ बात करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है। थैंक यू।
Dr. Raina, and then Muzaffar Shah. Dr. Raina.
Shah Saab, thank you so much. At the outset, I wish to extend my profound gratitude to Mr. Shah for giving me an opportunity to speak here. In fact, I was earlier also when the same type of conference was held here in November. It was a very fruitful and productive conference. I was very keenly listening to all speakers who spoke before me, especially to the predecessor, who went to the extent of saying that we need to know what is the relationship between India and Kashmir. I would go a little one step ahead, a few notches ahead. I would like to ask all the panelists, distinguished panelists here, what is the relationship of Kashmiri Pandits with Kashmir as of now? You see, Kashmiri Pandits constitute a factorial importance in the socio-cultural construct of Kashmir. And I, as a victim, I, as a person who has suffered for all these years, this pain and trauma of being in exile in his own country, and I have grown, I have added 33 years of my life, and not even a single word has come from the civil society and civil society institutions of Kashmir as to what is the relationship between a Kashmiri Pandit and Kashmir as of now. And under the situation and under the circumstances we are passing through, we have again to imagine that if we talk of multiculturalism, if we talk of a plural society, then you have to understand the idea of being a minority. And unfortunately, the state of Kashmir has been always adopting a no minority concept. Therefore, if we have to redefine the relationship of Kashmir with Kashmiri Pandits or Kashmiri Pandits with Kashmir, then we have to create a legitimate minority space for Kashmiri Pandits in the Valley of Kashmir as it existed before 1990. Please remember, there have been historic moments before 1990 when Kashmiris rose as a whole. I'm told by my parents when in 1947 there was a Kabali raid, all the Kashmiris rose as one unit. Hamlavar Khabardar, Ham Kashmiri hai tayar. I remember faintly about Mauli Muqaddas moment when Kashmiri Pandits open-heartedly joined that movement. I remember I was a kid when our tallest leader, Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah, passed away. We had a huge grape tree in our garden and we took at least half a dozen parties and distributed to the mourners. In fact, we also were mourners. We also took, but the mourners who passed with the body before it was being put to rest. So my point here is that we cannot take an exclusivist posture by saying that atrocities or whatever is happening with us. You need to build a new narrative. When you talk of new narrative, the new narrative has been given by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and Sabka Vishwas. We have to find all of us a place in that very argument. Please remember that the present political dispensation has been at the helm of affairs for almost 10 years now. And it is this very slogan which has remained, which has stayed there, the test of the times. And what is the test of the times is that day over day, they are increasing their political constituency. Now they are going to the south. The slogan remains the same, that the slogan that was given in 2014, it continues to be even now also. They are going to distant parts of the country where BJP could have not imagined to open its account. I'm not trying to be a devil's advocate, but what I'm trying to say is that it is the same political dispensation which gave the slogan, and unfortunately, the slogan probably has not reached to Kashmir. If at all it has reached to Kashmir, then we have to remind August 5, 2019, when the doors of Kashmir were opened, when the whole of Kashmir was integrated with the rest of India constitutionally, but a section of the society called Kashmiri Pandits, they continue to suffer psychologically, emotionally, and ideologically. Still, Shankaracharya is being termed as Takht-i Sulaiman. Hari Parbat is being known as Kohimaran. And Arnimal is being described as a poetic imagination, though she was living physically, she has contributed to the folklore of Kashmir, but yet she is being known as the poetic imagination. My understanding of the situation is that the idea of no minority concept in Kashmir has to be wound up. We have to wake up to the reality. Wake up to the reality is that if at all Kashmir has to be Kashmir, if at all it has to be consistent with the secular traditions of the rest of the country, then you need to understand that the idea of minority persists here, that the no minority idea has to be wound up, and you have to ensure that re-entry of Kashmiri Pandits. How does that take place? And the only way to ensure that the re-entry of Kashmiri Pandits is there in the Valley of Kashmir, that is to create a legitimate minority space for them. And what do I mean by the creation of legitimate minority space for Kashmiri Pandits is that they have to be given a minority status. There has to be a minority commission in the Valley of Kashmir on the lines of National Commission for Minorities in rest of the country, which takes care of minorities in rest of the country. Unfortunately, there's a big dilemma in Kashmir, and which has been deliberately created. And that dilemma is that the abject minority of Kashmiri Pandits is being linked with the mainstream Hindu majority of India, thereby telling us that you are part of the Hindu majority and denying us our minority rights. And the majoritarian Muslim community is being linked with the mainstream Muslim minority of India, thereby giving them the advantage of having both 15 points for the minority development, therefore giving them an access and a share in that. So this dilemma has to break. You have to break the wall. You have to call a spade a spade. You have to draw a straight line. You have to ensure you can't throw your brethren out on the road and start crying that this thing has happened to you. See, I'll tell you one thing. Your agonies are our agonies. Your agony is my agony. Your pain is my agony. And remember the days when we talked that Hamlavar Khabardar Kashmiri hai taiyar. Today also we can do the same thing. But unfortunately, when you build a barrier, when you build a wall between two sets of the people, such things are bound to happen. Such things will happen. You cannot keep 500 Prime Minister package employees crying on the roads nearly for 10 months. You cannot keep people killing in the name of hybrid terror, going into the office carrying a pistol in their pockets and then killing him in the broad daylight. Why is it possible that a person enters into the office premises of a person and kills a person in presence of 5-10 persons? How is it possible that ML Bindru, who rendered a great service to the society of Kashmir, even during COVID times, that you get him killed in the broad daylight in presence of 10, 15 customers. Well, you can't wish away this argument. You can't wish away this aspect. You can't keep it under carpet anymore. You have to respond to the history. This is a civilizational war going on in Kashmir. And I tell you, the civilizational wars have destroyed nations, they have destroyed states, they have destroyed civilizations. You have to restore the primacy to the Hindu civilization of Kashmir. You have to give them back what they deserve. You have to initiate doctrine of equality, which unfortunately doesn't exist here. You have to ensure that they are aborigines of Kashmir with 5,000-year-old both spoken and written history. Therefore, recognize and register Hindu dimension of Kashmir. And what is that Hindu dimension of Kashmir? That Hindu dimension of Kashmir is represented by Raj Tarangi. It is represented by Kalpana. Jona Raja in 1450 describes about the persecution of Kashmiri Pandits, Jati Vidwans. And it is this Jati Vidwans which was picked up by the United Nations as genocide. Genocide got definition from Jona Raja's Jati Vidwans. Now, there is a book written by Pandit Kashinath Pandita in 1990 perhaps, under the name A Muslim Missionary in Kashmir, that is about Shamsuddin Iraqi. About the persecution of Kashmiri Pandits, he uses two words. Jabran wa Kahran. What does Jabran wa Kahran mean? I'm not going to talk about it. Everybody knows. But understand the similarities in what Jona Raja said in 1450 and what Kashinath Pandita says in 1990. There's an uninterrupted continuity in it. Now forget about this. Now we are coming to a stage. This stage is a stage of enlightenment. And in this stage of enlightenment, we can't expect such things to happen. To that extent, I'm totally with my friend. This should not happen in this stage of enlightenment. But civil society and civil society institutions of Kashmir have to take a lead. They have to undo what has been happening there. But the stony and the stoic silence shown by the civil society and civil society institutions is not understandable. It's intriguing. So, my dear friends, I don't want to take a lot of time. I can understand. There are many speakers who have to speak. And obviously, I'm here more to listen than to speak. But I think this is the better forum when my friends, when my brothers have come all the way from Kashmir and other parts of the country to know what can be done best for Kashmir. It's for their understanding that they have to recognize and register the Hindu dimension of Kashmir. I want to make one point very clear, that such type of conferences should be held in Kashmir. Why? There has to be an interface with civil society and civil society institutions with the displaced Kashmiri Pandits, so that the generation born and brought up in Kashmir without any physical or emotional connect with Kashmiri Pandits for all these 30 years understands who they are, understands that they are the aborigines of Kashmir with the 5,000-year-old history. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. We have fun.
Thank you, Shaza.
We see quite often these days in the news. So you might like to.
No, I'll be very brief. I would mostly like to listen to our friends from here, because we know exactly what's happening there. They don't know much about it, but what you know, what you see through television and through all the social media channels. That's up 5 minutes. I'll try to wrap.
Please, as much as you
मैं इतना ही बताऊं अपने जो मेरे से पहले हमारे साथियों ने बात की, पहले चूंकि ताजा बात की अपने खोल साहब ने,
डॉक्टर राणा साहब ने मैंने सही लिखा था यहाँ मैं इतना ही कहूंगा सर, ये आपका और मेरा फेलियर है. Yes, why not? I thought it might be easier. Sure. What I was trying to tell is the speakers that spoke before, and we could gather what they are all wanting, and the speaker before me, Rana Sahab, as a Pandit, our brother, and as a Muslim, we are brothers. We are blaming everybody, rightly so. But we have to blame our own selves. We never sit together and try to come on a platform. We don't do it. That has been our biggest failure till date. And I don't want to go into anybody's speech or make any comment, but I can only say one thing. It is very easy to hold these conclaves here. It is very easy to hold them in Jammu. Same Mr. O.P. Shah, when he tried to hold such kind of a round table in Srinagar, he was holed up in his hotel room with 3 policemen standing guard outside and not allowed to come out when all the preparations were made. I was a part of that. Not only was he subject to room arrest, all of us there were subject to house arrest for that day till this day finished and he left. You can ask him. So we can make very tall claims, talk very high about things, all accepted, agreed upon. हमारी कश्मीरी ज़बान में इसको कहते हैं तालिबट, हमारे सब. मगर when you come to reality, the reality is different. I appreciate the slogan of Prime Minister, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. But it does not enter Lakhimpur. It stops right there at Lakhimpur. Beyond Lakhimpur, there is nothing called Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. I can say very openly to all of my friends here. It doesn't exist there. A lieutenant governor's rule under the Constitution does not have the power to take steps which have got permanent consequences. You can at best send me a notice, but you cannot break my home whether it is legal or illegal. You cannot do that. That is the job of a representative government. That is the job of the legislature. That is what we are asking for. It's not done. You can at best say, okay, I'll improve your salary from 500 to 1,000 rupees. But you can't implement pay commission reports. That is not the job of a, because governor's rule or a lieutenant governor rule is transitory in nature. It's temporary. Permanency is with the legislature and the state. And we don't have either of them there. So that is what we are fighting today. We are asking these people, please. And we are breaking homes. We are breaking shops. Illegal encroachments. Illegal encroachments are supposed to be thrown away. Yes. Land mafia and sharks are supposed to be identified. But till date, our land mafia or the sharks, not a single name has been identified. Not even one. That is the problem that we have. I can give you huge examples where people have taken land in hundreds and hundreds of canals, but their name is nowhere. But you can come into my home, into his home, any home, and say, okay, I'm entering here. Without permission, you are entering. And as per law, I have the right to protect my property, protect my people. I can do anything at that time. I can lift a stone, I can lift a stick, or if I have a gun in my hand, I can fire. Law allows me to do that. Anyway, that is what has been happening, and it's a very, very sad situation, both in Jammu as well as in Kashmir. And coming to my friend from Kargil and Ladakh, Sajjad Saab, we are with you through and through. You know that. And I asked my people from Leh, our very dear friends. Well, let's be one thing is very clear. Jammu and Kashmir cannot be broken into parts. You're not allowed as per the instrument of accession goes. You can't touch the boundaries. Let's be very clear about it. That is what is at this time under the constitution of the Supreme Court of India. The relationship between Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh is more than 1500 years. You can't break it with one order only because of the numbers in the parliament. Nothing else. That was absolutely unconstitutional and it was illegal. Whether we like it or don't like it, doesn't matter. That is subject to the petitions are before the Honorable Supreme Court of India. But whatever we talk, we are talking under the constitution of this country. We are not going beyond that. Kashmiri Pandits and Muslims have to sit together. No government can help us. No force, no army, no CRPF, no police. It is the Muslim and the Hindu and other minorities there. They have to sit together and thrash out a plan. Nobody else will do it for us, sir. Nobody else. And we have all failed till date. We have not done it. Let's be very clear about it. No BJP, no Congress, nobody can do anything about it, excepting people of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. Today, all my three regions are in Ladakh, Kashmir and Jammu. They are in a state of shock. Jammu is in a state of shock, more than Kashmir. Their business is gone. Their lands are on strike. They don't know what to do with them. My friend just now from Rajuri, he knows about it. He has very clearly told you what is there. And when we say that राष्ट्रीय तिरंगा फैलाना है, क्या अभी तक नहीं फैलता था वहां? मैं अपने भाई मदोसर से यही पूछूंगा, मेरे भाई आपने फैलाया, बहुत अच्छी बात की। 1947 से आज तक बताओ कब एक दफा भी there was never any attempt to disgrace the national flag. Never. 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 It always flew on the secretariat. It always flew in all the district headquarters. And every year on 26th and 15th of August, 26th January and 5th of August, all chief ministers, all DCs, all ministers, they used to take salute under the national flag, with the Kashmir flag with it. That is given to me by the constitution of this country. So when I'm asking for return of those things, I'm not begging. I'm asking for what is provided by the constitution of this country to me. Please provide it. That's all. I will finish it quickly, sir, because you're looking at me. No. Your stare is very enough. Now, one more thing. Simply, what is our way forward? As for Ladakh, I forgot. Schedule 6. He explained very well what we are asking today. What is Schedule 6? Schedule 6 has all those provisions in it that 35A had. Protection of land, protection of the job, protection of the environment. That is what my friends from Ladakh are asking for today. They made a big tamasha in the parliament that time. I remember our MP, who's a good friend, he was dancing on the floor of the parliament. For what? And today he's crying. 370 and 35A have given you the same what you are asking today from Schedule 6. And let us be very clear, sir. 370 has nothing to do with terrorism. It has nothing to do with a Kashmiri Muslim. It is not Kashmir centric. It is for every citizen of Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh, irrespective of his region or his religion, caste or color. So I will sum it up that very nice Shah Sahab still is going on. And I would also like to tell you, he made a very good attempt to take a group of people, about 12 of us, and we wanted to go to Pakistan and spread this message of peace. But unfortunately, we did not get the visa. So my friends from Pakistan can talk whatever they want, but when it comes to the crux, they run away from it like they ran away from it in 1947. They did exactly what they did that time. They ran away from talks. And I have the honor to tell all my friends here, all my Kashmiri Pandit brethren, that yes, you're right, when the Kabali raid took place, it was the national conference at that time, led by Sher Kashmir. And people like my father, even Bakshi Ghulam Ahmad, they formed the core volunteers group. Every single home of a minority was protected by 3 persons. They were standing outside the doors. That is the secularism I know. We don't need to be taught secularism from anywhere. Kashmir has a history of secular character of 5,000 years old. And it is time we recognize that. Jammu and Kashmir, God has given it the special privilege, special sanctity. It better remain special for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Mr. Shah is the grandson of late Sheikh Mohammad Abdullah and son of former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, G.M. Shah. He is the senior vice president of Awami National Conference. And of course, Bar Alliance, he is representing we have other members of the Bar Alliance here also. Friends, we have a former union minister sitting here. I understand he's ready to speak. He took a promise from me that I will not announce his name. And I will not do so. I will leave it to him to announce his name. But little later, let us have 2-3 more speeches. And then we have a young activist, intellectual from Central Kashmir, Aga Mudassar. He will be followed by Aarti Tikku. Aga.
Thank you, Shah Sahab, for organizing such events on Kashmir in contemporary times. I won't make any large speech or such stuff because there are elderly figures sitting in the house this time and they know more than me about what is happening. I want to make a small observation that government of the day in Delhi should introspect its actions and forge a relation between Delhi and Srinagar based on humanity. The process of dehumanizing Kashmiris, chest thumping, process of delegitimizing political class is and will be counterproductive. It will never serve any purposes except electoral excitements across the country. They can portray to the country that see how we are dehumanizing Kashmiris, how we are delegitimizing political class to serve their electoral excitement across the country. I want to tell the government of the day that there's a difference between resolving some issue and containing some issue. The thing you are doing, you are containing the entire issue. You are not resolving this issue. Your actions, your ideologue-based decisions are only escalating the conflict. It's not going to resolve this conflict. Only way is to address this Kashmir only through the prism of human tragedy, not through the prism of security, not through the prism of Muslims, and not through the prism of Pakistan. The day Delhi sees Kashmir through the angle of human tragedy, it will, I'm sure, it will bring stability in the Kashmir. At the end, as Dr. Raina Saab also said that we need to sit together. Muzaffar Shah Saab also said that communities in Kashmir need to be sit together. I want to tell them and the House that past 2-3 years, we have launched a chapter, Anjuman Interfaith Dialogue chapter, under the supervision of Agha Sayyid Hassan Mufti al-Safi, in which Shah Saab is also been invited all these years. Sayyad Saab is also coming. Engineer Shah Saab is also being invited. We have initiated these things where the communities of all faiths, particularly Muslims and Pandits, are staying together, talking to each other, trying to bridge the mistrust between the communities. Thank you.
I just need to leave early
Go ahead.
with your permission,
Of course.
and he will announce the name. I'm not announcing it.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I thank Gopi, my friend, for inviting me here. I'm K. Alphonse. I am from Kerala. I'm from the 1979 batch of IAS. I was Tourism Minister of India in the last cabinet from 1917 to 2017 to 19. I just retired from Parliament a few months back. I'm from Kerala, but I was a member of Parliament from Rajasthan. In fact, I was not very keen to come to this discussion, not because I don't respect Gopi, I respect all the members here. I said, if I won't speak, it would be seen as an omission from my part because I belong to the BJP, the ruling party. And therefore, if I don't speak, I think it will be not seen as appropriate. So that's what the reason I'm speaking. Basically, I came to speak, but I have another meeting at 3:30. That's why I have to leave. I mean, I'm sorry. I think we've raised so many issues here, constitutional issues. I've been to Kashmir many times. As an IAS probationer in 1980, we went there, spent 2 weeks there, and we said, my God, what a land, what a people. It was incredible. As a member of parliament, as a minister, I visited once. As a member of parliament, I visited Jammu, Kashmir, and Ladakh separately. So I went there thrice, spent considerable amount of time. I won't say I'm fully aware of what is happening on the ground. That would be making a huge statement. I know some things which are happening on the ground. I think the speakers before me, and I would love to listen to everybody coming after me, talked about constitutional issues. Now I'm going to raise very fundamental issues. Firstly, this is a copy of the letter from Maharaja to the Mountbatten on the 26th of October 1947. I think we need to listen to this, start with this, and then a few lines I'll read. I won't read the entire page. With the conditions obtaining at present in my state and the great emergency of the situation as it exists, I have no option but to ask for help from the Indian Dominion. Naturally, they cannot send the help without help to ask for by me, without my state acceding to the Dominion of India. I have accordingly decided to do so, and I attach the instrument of accession for acceptance by your government. It's very simple. It's very simple. Letter based on which the government of India intervened, and on the same day, the letter of accession was signed. Tell me, what is a reason for giving a special status 370 to Kashmir? I'm from Kerala. We are a very special people. We have our language and culture. Language is only about 700 years old, but we have a culture going back to thousands of years. As Kashmiris are speaking about 5,000 years. We are equally long. I don't claim that we are older. I mean, like that. We are very special. I was the member of parliament from Rajasthan. We are very, very special. Why should Kerala and why should Rajasthan not have a 370? Tell me the logic. Because, no, 1 second, I'm asking questions. No, you can reply later. There were states Kerala didn't want to join the Union of India, very clear. If your argument is that Kashmir did not want to join the Union of India, and therefore they had to be persuaded, you had to give a special status, Kerala didn't want to join. Give us a special status. Why is 370 not there? Hyderabad didn't want to join, and it's a majority, it's a Muslim ruler with a huge majority of Muslims in that particular region. They were not given. Why was Kashmir given 370? Why? I think it was historically wrong, politically stupid, and we are suffering for it. And it's a temporary provision. How temporary can temporary be? How long can temporary be? I think it's long time. It should have been abolished long time ago. But it was not done. Nehru didn't have the courage to stand up. When half of Kashmir was taken away. And India had the stronger military, obviously. It was the same military fighting, actually, and the same commanders to both sides, I think, commanded by the English colonels. Why did we stop historic stupidity? Why? And you want the BJP to correct all these mistakes overnight. Pardon? I'm aware of that. I've read it. I read about it. Yes. Therefore, to say that a historic wrong should be sustained, should be maintained, I think abolition of Article 370, to beginning with, it was a wrong constitutional provision. It was high time it was abolished, and I'm extremely happy that we abolished. I voted for its abolition. I voted. Now, this whole talk about democracy. How democratic has Kashmir been? You tell me, what is democracy? This is the right, the right of certain people to loot people. An honorable Prime Minister of India is on record to say that for every rupee which is spent, only 15 paise has reached the people. How many paise? Not even 15. Tell me how many paise has reached the Kashmiri people? Where is it gone? Where is it? Is there any answer? Certain families was followed it up. Where is the democracy actually happening? And all these talk about secularism, you said Kashmiris don't have to be taught secularism. So what happened to the Kashmiri Pandits, sir? Sorry. What about the rights of people who were there for thousands of years? What happened to them? Will you allow one of them to step in there? Will you?
Why not?
You will. Sir, be practical. Just be practical. Be practical. Very easy for us to sit in this hall and say, yes, and Kashmiris out there. Is it possible?
No.
They'll get chopped up tomorrow. Yeah, come on. Be practical. You know your word. And I think, no, let me finish.
Please.
Let me finish. I think what India needs is a strong administration.
So, please carry on, please.
India needs an administration which will deliver to the people of India. When the DBT, direct transfer technique.
It was stupid that.
Of course, I hold it. I strongly hold that view. Why is a democracy? I have the freedom to hold that view. If it's a debate, I have the right to say that. No, OP, if it's a debate, I have the right to say so.
Can you please allow the gentleman to finish?
And if you're talking about the democracy, somebody here said, sorry, J&K doesn't have the right to demolish anything or to enforce the law. Sir, I was Commissioner Delhi Development Authority. You know how many buildings I knocked down? I love the bulldozer. Anytime I see a nice building, I think, where can I put the bulldozer? I demolished 14,310 buildings belonging to the mafia of Delhi. to the mafia. I'm not demolished any slums. So we need people to implement it. My wife was beaten up, left for dead. My kids were beaten up. I carried a gun for 8 years. I never knew where I would reach home any day. We need enforcement of the law. If you say, sorry, it's not democracy, you can do whatever you want. And let me tell you, as a result of what happened, not 1 inch OP, not 1 inch of land in Delhi was encroached when I was Commissioner DDA. Not 1 inch of land was encroached when I was Commissioner DDA. No, yes, no. Oh.
Even who decided? You speak. You didn't have.
So you are talking about democracy when you are not allowing my democratic right.
When we all listen to other
we
speakers,
listen to you.
so finish.
Time's up. Madam.
We are here to discuss democracy now. Don't.
English-speaking people, he speaks English. He has to take care of his words also. Or though was Jawaharlal Nehru a stupid man?
Let him finish, sir.
So whatever you are, I speak Malayalam, which is equally a good language. Okay? Yeah, it's not that I'm only an English educated man. I speak Malayalam very, very fluently. Maybe better than you are Hindi. I don't know. Yeah. So don't stifle my democratic rights. Please don't. Okay? If this discussion in this hall is about democracy, I have the right to believe or talking about my fundamental beliefs. And therefore, we need to move forward. He's making friendship with Pakistan a great choice before us. How much have we tried? And who is actually Pakistan? Pakistan is a proxy for China, nothing else. And let's not be mistaken, China is our enemy. I have no doubt on this. After having spent 40 years in public life, if we have an enemy, it is China, and Pakistan is just a proxy for China, nothing else. And therefore, OP, you may have great good intentions, you may want to go to Pakistan, OP, nothing is going to happen. I can assure you, nothing. Our government tried, Vajpayee tried. We are reaching human assistance even to Turkey, which is voting against us everywhere. Is India against anybody? No. We give assistance to Afghanistan. Are they friends of ours? No. Therefore, we have come out of that silly notion we will help only our friends. No. We also deal with our enemies. In fact, today, just now, we are having a dialogue with China, doing secretary level. Discussion is happening. It's happening in China. Therefore, we talk to our enemies. Keep talking, good thing. But I don't think enemy is going to happen. And
Talking to the enemy is a good thing.
it's a good thing.
I talk to you.
Mr. Chopra.
Yeah, thank you so much. And all these talk about democratic rights. What was happening in the 80s and 90s in Punjab? Didn't the entire India write off Pakistan, Punjab, and say it's gone? Did anybody dare? All these democratic people sitting there dare to drive through Punjab? Nobody dared. Ultimately, two police officers OP settle things in Punjab. Is it yes or no? It's not an elected government settlement. And this morning I was watching a video of a certain sector of people attacking a police station, and I see the seeds of same thing happening there again. Do we have the courage? That's the government of Punjab. Or we talk about democratic right to protest. Sorry, this is the country where everybody's interest rights must be protected, not of certain just people who are interested. Thank you so much.
So the agenda of the agenda of this meet is the way forward, not to intimidate.
You get chance to speak.
Much obliged.
Shut up.
I have your name.
Did they,
Shut up.
did government of India had
Yeah, just a
to
minute.
live with
Let me announce
the
your name.
party in Srinagar?
Just a minute.
Did you stop militancy there? Random killing there? Yeah. They were great people.
Talking with China.
Yeah.
I have a small intervention. If somebody wants to do a rebuttal
Yeah.
of the Honorable Union Minister's statement, please go ahead, then I'll speak.
All right.
But not more than 2 minutes, please.
Mr. A.R. Shaheen, former member of parliament, has some comments to offer. He was supposed to speak. In fact, I requested him earlier to speak, but he says he would like to speak later. Now, I request him to offer his comments. Time's up. and no interruptions when he speaks, please.
This August House. I'll very specifically talk about what the former minister has said. You say that what is the use of talking to Pakistan? You said it. I do also say that there is no use to talk to Pakistan because we have been injured many times by Pakistan administration and their army and their maneuvering. Leave it there for the time. You said that 370 should have been in Kerala and other states. Why not there? Are you a neighbor of an enemy country like Pakistan and China? Do you have those problems which we had? Do you know that we were a majority Muslim state and we had a right to join either India or Pakistan? But a big mistake which we did. I have never accepted it so far, but now today I say that my great leader, I have greatest regard for him. He was a great man and he remained to be a great man. He committed a mistake. That mistake was, he said, we support secular, democratic, socialist order. And what was the socialist order? We didn't understand that. To be very honest, at that time, we did not understand what socialist order means. What does it mean for the West, for the allied capitalists and others? I was on a visit to Brussels, sent by the central government. We talked to the high-ups in the European Union, and the chairman of that committee, when I got the time to talk, I said, we have come from a state where we followed secular democratic system. He said, well, Mr. Senator, you have forgotten to say that it was secular, socialist, democratic system. I said, yes, I did not mention it because you are so much get irritated with the word socialism. He said, yes, that is the stigma. We don't like socialism. So I had started thinking about it, what the hell we were doing, what socialism? But ultimately I came to know it was a Platonic socialism. It was a socialism taught by religion, Islam, and we did it for the people of Kashmir, what Lenin and Marx could not do for their people. You have done it in Kerala. Mahfuz Muzariya kar diya. The land was would retain with the tiller who is cultivating it now. That was the only great thing you have done. But we have done still a better thing. When we were sold by English company to Maharaja Gulab Singh, our land, our water, our canals, our rivers, and our people for 2 rupees per head. Maybe 3 rupees. We were sold. And finally, we decided that we will finish with this big lands, estates system and abolish it, hand it over to the tillers. And we paid the price for 22 long years. You talk about democracy. You say, what democracy is sustaining in Kashmir? Where is the democracy? Who has done it? Has central government done it? In the dead of the night, you arrested our great leader. He was Prime Minister of Kashmir. And you arrested him for 22 long years. And instructed the press that you should not mention Sheikh's name by mistake. It was after 22 long years, Pravda gave a small news item, small, on the first page at the right side, and said, where is Sheikh Abdullah, the line of Kashmir? And then talking, etc. started. It's a big story. It is a big detail which you will take a lot of time to understand. You cannot say, why 370? It was stupid. Why those leaders who did it. It was not stupid. It was a wise decision. It was a wise decision because we had decided to join India and prove it that we are democracy. We do not even like this time Pakistan because they cannot sustain the democracy. They cannot take care of the secular traditions in their country. We are not meant for that also. They killed my brother. I was asked to go over there. I said, I'll not go. They are killers. But Vajpayee insisted, said, no, it's a long story. I will not narrate it this time. But you said that, where is democracy in Kashmir? Who has allowed democracy to flourish there and sustain it? Who? Your central government? You employ uniform less gundas. They were known as peace brigades in 1953. Whosoever will talk about Sheikh Abdullah, they will pull his tongue out of his body. You have given us democracy. And now, democracy. What democracy? For the last 2 years, we're under a one man's rule. And they decide, all right, you start working, that where is the land? Which land? The land which was sold to the Maharaja when his government finished, and we got into a democratic setup of India, so that Sri Sarkar and the land belonging to Sarkar is not there. That is not a point now. But it is a point to say that yes, we have this government land. Which government? Whose land? You people are doing a very dangerous game to destroy this country. Kindly stop for a while, think about it, and do the right course and preserve what we have preserved for the last 70 years. Preserve it for God's sake. You will not start threatening, scaring, bullets, bullet balls, and the conspiracies under the table. Hey, Mr. A has been killed. Who killed him? Na malum bundu bardaru ne mari. And who has the courage to say that what are the things happening behind the walls? Who kills them? Kashmiri Pandits suffered a lot. My friends, my teachers, better than my blood relations, they suffered a lot. I was a part of their suffering. But we have, all of us have to face it together. Who will do it for us? Who will do it for us? Nobody. Nobody will do it for us. Because you need to say that now we have the power of Kashmir in our hands. We don't have legislature. We have destroyed the state, Maharaja's state. We have separated Ladakh. We have done this thing. So we will destroy you all. We will not let you live. That is the position. And that position is not a democratic position. That position is not a position which government of India should take because it is a renowned democracy. It's a big population. What are you people doing with that democracy? Destroying it by inches. And spreading hate. Your hate campaigns has injured the feeling of people who wanted to be at peace in this country. We will stay. We will live in this country. Muslims of India in this country, because this country belongs to us. We have fought for its respectability. We have been a part of their armies, our armies. We are a part of, now even this time, fighting Isn't it suitable that you are making a host of enemies around you? That now we have 160 orders of the government we have changed laws in law department, I was told. You have finished with those rules and regulations which the famous government of Sheikh Abdullah did. How long we can tolerate this whole thing? We are smaller people, of course. We don't have big power to fight big power. And we do not prefer to do it by violence, by gun, by ammunition. Us, my age group, my people, those who work with Sheikh. But the next generation is there.
Please conclude.
Stay there. You have to take care of that. You have to be very kind to that generation and listen to their problems and understand what can you do for that. You cannot say that it was stupid to do this. It is stupid. Not. I am happy that you participated in this. And I came here for the first time. I am a man, say, living in a graveyard. Kashmir is a graveyard. We are in a graveyard and we are content, silent, no problem. Carry it on for many years as long as you have the power, as long as you have the vote, you carry. You don't give us a state, don't give us a legislature, don't give us respectability, do whatever. We don't get any support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Aarti. And journalist. Then we have Arshid Kashir Merchant.
I will only request after.
Yeah, you will check your time. I'll give you
2
time.
minutes, I have something written.
After Aarti. After Aarti.
I will not take more than 1 minute.
All right. Thank you, Shasa, for inviting me once again for this conference on Kashmir, Jammu, Kashmir, and Ladakh. It's an honor and privilege to be here, but I don't like privilege because I'm not a person of privilege. I come from the ground. I'm a journalist from the ground. I've worked on Kashmir and in Kashmir for over 23 years. So why I actually mention privilege, because I feel I'm getting an overwhelming sense that people in this August gathering today are speaking from the position of privilege. Because when I go to the ground and I meet people, ordinary Kashmiris, ordinary Jammuwalas, ordinary Ladakhis, and I have worked in all 3 regions, I get a very different sense of what is happening in Kashmir, what is happening in other parts of the state, in fact, now Union Territory. And I get a very different narrative from gatherings like these. Most of the people sitting here have gray hair. They are veterans in their respective fields. They have mastered the art of narrative building on Kashmir for the last probably 60 years or more. But I will today talk about ordinary people in Jammu and Kashmir. And I have to say that so far I've been listening to conversations here. In the last 1 hour or so, I did not get the sense that people sitting here are the representatives of common, ordinary people. In fact, the sense that I got is that most people were representatives of the ruling elite class who controlled Jammu and Kashmir, who were actually given all the privilege, the power by respective governments, not just the Congress government. I'm also referring to the BJP government, whether it's Vajpayee government or the Modi government. The same people who were instrumental in ruining the lives of people in Kashmir. 20,000 Kashmiri Muslims were killed. Innocent civilians were killed in Kashmir in the last 33 years. I'm the only non-Muslim journalist from Jammu and Kashmir who spoke about those Kashmiri Muslim civilians, not only in India, not only in my respective media organizations, but also at the United States of America at a congressional hearing on Kashmir. I have represented those ordinary Kashmiri Muslim civilians who were killed and who were killed because of the policies and the decision making of people in Delhi and people in Kashmir. For me, all of them are culpable, all of them. So if a BJP representative, a Congress representative, and National Conference representative is going to give me any spiel, self-righteous spiel that they have done great things for Jammu and Kashmir, I'm sorry, none of them did. In fact, all of them are culpable of sending innocent Kashmiri Muslim boys and girls to their death throes. They are culpable of the ethnic cleansing of Kashmiri Hindus, of the community that I actually belong to, and I was also subjected to. But even today, after the nullification of 370, I am seeing the same kind of narrative where a Muslim is talking about his Muslim community, a Hindu is talking about his Hindu community. There is no pluralistic sense that everyone is bragging about. India is a great pluralistic country, a secular country. It was great till say 2013. Now it's been totally, rotten. But none of them who were in power before 2014 and who have been in power after 2014 are actually speaking for each other. They are speaking against each other. Even today, this communal seed, this communal worm in their minds is manifesting itself in so much hatred, even in this room. So it's shocking to me that this country's elite representatives haven't woken up at all. They still want that blood on the streets in Kashmir that they actually perhaps drew sadistic pleasure from for 30 years or more. They still want to see Kashmiri in the refugee camps. They still want Kashmiri Muslim boys taking stones in their hands, taking AK-47s in their hands, because the narrative today that I heard here is the same as narrative I heard before 2019 August 5th. It's the same. There's no change in the mindset or in the narrative. The point here is this, that these policies created those boys who were dying on the streets in 2010, 2009, 2008, 2007. These policies led to the ethnic cleansing of Kashmiri Hindus who still continue to be refugees in their own country. The same hate mongering, the same communal narrative that Kashmiris are special, that they deserve Article 370 because we are special. And the logic has been turned on its head when for the first time I actually heard the respected honorable member saying that Jammu and Kashmir deserved Article 370 because we were surrounded by a hostile neighbor, that is Pakistan. We have had 370 since 1950. Till today, that neighbor has not gone anywhere. That neighbor stays there. That neighbor was there in 1989-90 when an entire community was cleansed in Kashmir. That neighbor was there in 2007-2010 when innocent Kashmiri Muslim boys were getting killed on the streets of Kashmir. You had 370 there. We all had 370 there. What happened? It did not prevent the mass murder of Kashmiri Hindus and Muslims. It did not. You talk about democracy. Democracy in Jammu and Kashmir, an abnormal state from day one of its existence in the Union of India. Jammu and Kashmir cannot be a normal state. It is not a normal state. If you're going to apply a normal template on Jammu and Kashmir, you will never get normal results. You are surrounded by hostile, not one enemy, but several enemies. You have China on the one hand, you have Pakistan on the other hand, you even have Taliban on the same side. They are coming. So therefore, to say that 370 somehow prevented or protected us, where did it protect us? We have had 4 wars with Pakistan. We have had the same Mujahideen who threw out the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. Some of them actually helped Pakistan's ISI. And the arms and ammunition that the United States of America, who we call our ally, the same arms and ammunition came to Jammu and Kashmir. So to say that China is an enemy or China is a friend, America is a friend, this is all nonsense. Let's be honest to each other. Nobody is a friend and nobody is an enemy. It depends on the circumstance in which your nation will be. Your nation was weak, therefore you had enemies. Your nation, if and when we become strong, the same enemy might turn to be a friend. I mean, we are seeing Pakistan quite desperate today to be a friend. Even as for 75 years, they plagued us by 1,000 cuts. Even today, Said Salahuddin, we are seeing him roaming freely. Pakistan is not showing you any sympathy. Pakistan is not going to give you any sympathy. They are going to follow the same policies as they had before. One interesting point I heard here, that union territory is a colonial concept and democracy perhaps is a very, I don't know what concept. But my point is this, that Jammu and Kashmir, if you really think that it was as a state, was a non-colonial construct and was a democratic state, please go back to the history of Jammu and Kashmir. For the longest time, the same people who are now raising the slogan of democracy, they were saying that there is no democracy in Jammu and Kashmir. Mehbooba Mufti, Farooq Abdullah, the same bunch of elites, ruling elites who made massive amounts of wealth. You can see it in Srinagar if you really pay attention to what has happened in Jammu and Kashmir in the last 33 or even 75 years, you will know that the same bunch in 1953, when Sheikh Abdullah, the Kashmir conspiracy case happened, there was no democracy. 1987, when rigging happened, there was no democracy in Kashmir. Today, there is no democracy in Kashmir. So let's not kid ourselves. Jammu and Kashmir is an abnormal state. It will never have normal democracy until and unless people in Jammu and Kashmir come together as a cohesive unit who really believe in pluralism of India and diversity of India, who believe in the civilization of India, the value system of India, which is to coexist and not look towards China or Pakistan or America. Until that happens, we will not have peace and democracy and pluralism in Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you.
Bashir. Yes.
Lawyer from Srinagar.
Hello, everyone. Sir, I would need your 1 minute. If you could kindly stay for it. If you could. Sir, if you could kindly, I had been waiting to answer your one query. If you could kindly sit for a while, so that I'm extremely sorry. Sir, I guess yes, Shine Sahab has, I guess, answered to all the queries that you raised. The only question that you raised about the democracy, whether the democracy was ever present in Kashmir or not. The first thing is that your dispensation has very much taken part in the electoral politics there from day one. So simply pointing out that since you came into the power post or after abrogation of 370, the democracy all of a sudden came up there is factually incorrect. Sir, we live in a federal democracy where you cannot, as union, cannot hold a federal entity by gun on a gunpoint, as is being done presently in Kashmir. Our political leaders, they have been incarcerated, they have been arrested, and they have been released. And as we could see, although they are out, but they are not able to express their views, their opinions, which does not behold the very basic principles of the democracy. We could see our leaders just by simply expressing their opinions, we could see tears rolling down from their eyes. It reflects that they are not satisfied with what we collectively are being subjected to. So if this is the definition of democracy by your standards, then absolutely we don't agree with this definition of the democracy. Ma'am, to your query, before I could come, because the agenda of this meet is the way forward. What I could see is only mudslinging, only intimidating other sect, which I guess fails the basic agenda for which we all sit here.
But what do you mean by intimidating other sectors?
Yes.
Please
Yes.
expand your comments because this is
Not
very
to not specific to you, not specific to you. I could see that you could moderate your views in a diplomatic way, but rightly the way, sir, the way I am not from a privileged family. My uncle has been shot dead. So I does not.
Whatever there is, you can't
I-
get up and go. Because let me tell you, the communal bomb is in your head. Nobody has a communal bomb.
You need to have the.
And you're running away like a rat.
Please continue.
Yes.
If you have guts, you come here and face us.
Please continue.
Because the communal hatred comes in your mind, not nobody
Basic.
is communal here.
Sir, no, it's not about personal, because we
Please.
in Kashmiri, we call that Hindus and Muslims, Kashmiri specifically, Ushanam Tamaz. We are blood and flesh together. So by simply somebody who's staying in the Delhi and commenting about whether we are secular or not, it is unacceptable. It is Gandhiji who in 1947 said, when the whole subcontinent was burning on the altar of that communal violence, it said that I see ray of hope coming from Kashmir. You need to acknowledge that thing. So it is we who had held the baton, the torch of secularism high in Kashmir, even those days when we were subjected to complete massacre. So simply saying that I could, by visiting in 1980s or intermediate in between, will not give you the right to comment, make a general comment that we, the democracy or that secular, that grains are not there in the valley. Sir, I will just hold on my emotions because I guess I'm getting swayed by the emotion.
Please continue.
Confine.
You will just again, and I will request, because
Yeah.
since Mr.
Please. Continue. You have another 2 minutes.
No,
please.
since
wants to take a break, I will just.
no,
No,
I will continue. Actually, as this respected lady said that she could only
please
see,
continue.
that some privileged people are here who had some power at one point of once in their life. They are here and they are not the actual representatives of the common masses. I wanted to make this thing clear to her that I am a small man who had not the privilege to go to USA and address the assembly, General Assembly there. I'm a common man who had to take money from his father or earn hard and take the bus from Srinagar to reach here to attend this conference. I'm a common man. I'm not a privileged man. And I am the man, I am the person whose uncle, I don't want to sell this thing. I don't want to simply market this thing. We had the tragedies at our home. 2 of my uncles were martyred by shot dead by that unidentified gunman. Am I the privileged man? As I said, our political class has been held hostage on gunpoint, and the common masses have been held hostage on bulldozer right now. Will they be here to speak, or will they be there to protect their hard-earned properties they have built over the years? So if BJP thinks by abrogating Article 370 they have done something right, they are very much within their rights to say it, because Honorable Supreme Court is their matter is sub judice. Let them decide. If Supreme Court upholds it, we know what fate is going to have. We will not be in a position to speak. But one thing there is, what compels BJP to micromanage the things? Can't it? Because we live in a democracy. Let there be a popular democracy there in the Kashmir. Let the local government come up who will contest the elections under the Constitution of India, under the flag of India. Let them come and micromanage things. It does not behold the status of a great nation like India, where a man holding 2 marlas, 3 marlas of land, or holding it, having adversarial rights over that land from centuries to or 10, 20, 30 years together. BJP simply coming, dictating from the North Bloc that demolish it. It does not behold the stature of India, the great India, because as I said, we are not averse. The first notion that needs to be dispelled from the common masses of India, that Kashmiris per se are not anti-Indians. We had, as Shah Sahib rightly said, we had held the flag of India high even those times once when we had the reason to surrender, but we did not, and we never will. As Shaheen Saab said, we being the citizens of India, we will continue to be the citizens of India, and we will continue to raise our voice whenever we see any of our right getting infringed. Well, hold on.
One more minute.
I'm just concluding it. Actually, I needed only 30 seconds because what we were supposed to do is to give the proposition to what next. That all we were supposed to hear. Since the agenda got deviated, so I could not. Yes.
Yeah, please.
Yes. Elections are the need of the hour there in the Kashmir. This is the message that should go from this place. That let there be a look, because ultimately we all intend to win the hearts and minds of the people there. That this is undisputed question. This concern is shared by both, be it BJP, by who follow that ideologue, be it those or somebody who is apolitical, having no affiliation, no consideration with any political party. The issue is we are concerned about the well-being of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, not specific with any particular sect. So the message that should go from this platform, or we should at least impress upon other civil societies of India, that let Government of India take the urgent call and elections be held there in Valley, so that at least these demolition drives, even if this is unacceptable, even if there is some legitimacy in demolishing it, let it be decided by the local governments, so that the local people living there, they will not have the grudge that some outsiders, somebody who came from, who decided things from Delhi, because it does not suit the basic principles of the democracy. So I would confine with this thing only, with one more message, because the Pandit issue came into it, in which other was none, because we share the common issue. Your grievances are very much well founded, but these are mostly against the government of India, not with the people, sorry. So you hold me accountable. Why are you? I am. This is why we have found. This is why I don't. As I said, I did not want to go into what we have done, because it will belittle our contribution so far. By simply, we have formed a group in Delhi. I guess you may or may not be the part of that. Those like-minded people from Pandit community and from the Kashmir community, we called it Kashmirian, where we try to bring the people from both the sections together and to work over it, to see the way out, how we can try to mitigate the sufferings of each other. It isn't that civil society is only responsible what has been committed to you. If you I'm concluding, sir. If you deserve any special status, if Government of India is, if I'm concluding, sir, if Government of India can frame a policy, sir, I'm concluding. Actually, if Government of India can bring reservation for Gujar Bakarwal community, it is very much empowered to see what rights you deserve. Definitely on the touchwood of the constitutionality, if it passes that, nobody is stopping the government. But to simply score on the political points, they know which section to pit against which section. They only are confined to that. So what I could see, it is only the civil society that will come to your rescue, and it is only the civil society of India that will come to our rescue, not the government as is present, the way it is being presently run. Thank you.
Just 1 second. We'll disperse at 4:30. Before that, we have Parshant. The major speech has to come from Justice Sultan, the member of Lok Sabha. And you said you want to make
I thought
complete speech.
No, I thought that Honorable Minister is leaving afterward. If he's staying here. No. If you are staying, because you made a point, about Article 370. If you are waiting here, if you are here, available with us. So.
I think he wanted to say.
No, I want just
2 minutes from him, 1 minute from me. That's all.
People are waiting for me at another meeting. I'm so sorry.
No.
Thank you so much.
Merchant.
So, esteemed
friends. Thank you very much to Mr. Okisha. You know, the way forward, how do we move forward? That's always been my concern. And whatever may have happened historically, the way forward is essentially possible through education, through empowerment of women. If I were to ask to solve the problems, I would go to the school textbooks. What are the children in Kashmir, in Jammu, and in Ladakh learning from their schools? How are the women being empowered? Because these are two very important criteria for any society to advance. If your textbooks are filled with stuff which actually fuels animosities, misunderstandings, confusion, then surely you need to rewrite. In fact, the UNESCO itself has got some wonderful guidelines on what kind of education not only Kashmir or Jammu or Ladakh or India needs, but the whole world. The 4 pillars of education are so powerfully presented. Education for knowledge, education for skills, education for learning to live together, education to know as a human being, who am I? What am I supposed to be? So these things will surely help. If any government's educational documents, policies, programs create animosities, divide, destroy cohesiveness and unity, surely you need to question that. How do we treat our women? I mean, we talk so much about empowerment of women. So we will never be able to solve the problem so long as our thought process remains at the level of the problems itself. You have to rise above. So there is a United Nations common agenda, which was adopted during the 75th anniversary of the United Nations. There are 12 points. Each one of these are very relevant. In fact, the very first point is leave no one behind. It is so Gandhian in its approach, till the last person. So for me, the division of society into ethnic groups, into caste, into religion, into linguistic groups is very, very superficial and flimsy. I consider myself as a human being, the creation of God, the God who is called Allah or Bhagwan or Parmeshwar. And women, they are as much important as the rest of humanity, how we have treated them. It is so incomprehensible to me to look at the kinds of violence perpetrated towards women, towards girls. So for me, my humble request is, on 20th February was the United Nations International Day of Social Justice. And this year's theme was overcoming barriers, unleashing opportunities. So is our dialogue, is our roundtable going to help us overcome the barriers and unleash opportunities? So we talk about the growth trajectory. In the growth trajectory, if you distill all the speeches, what are the 3 things you get? One is education, one is infrastructure, the second, and the third is use of technology. Today we have smartphones, and our smartphones are 500 times more powerful in the processing abilities and capacity than the computers that sent man on the moon. And we are not doing the positive side of that technology. So friends, these are just few thoughts that if you really want to move forward, look at what's going into the heads of our children.
Change the curriculum.
If the curriculum needs to be changed,
As
then
it be,
change it.
as is
So
being
the
done in,
current national
yes,
education
yes.
policy of 2020,
yes.
there are some good things, but there are changes also to be needed. So can we start with that? Because education today has become a fundamental right. It's no longer a state subject. And there is a reciprocal relationship between the central and the state government. So these are my humble suggestions, and I leave it for your.
Thank you very much. Before I request Justice Saab, he will be making the concluding remarks. Chopra Saab, you want to intervene for a minute? 2 minutes, please. Mohan, would you like to say? Yeah. Yes.
I would like to give only one example. My connection with Kashmir is very old. My temple priest tell me it's 52 generations. But I would like to say one thing. You don't have to stick to what you've inherited. Every individual has a right to leave his class and join another, which will make a better world. So it's not a question of what you were, it's a question of what you are. I remember Kashmir when we were guests of Shamlal Saraf in Srinagar. And Sheikh Abdullah was released and we saw that huge crowd and we heard his speech. That is secularism. That is secularism. And I don't have to talk about the secularism that is something, to be given to someone. People take secularism for themselves. And I'm proud that I belong to a group who has Yusuf Tarigami as its leader in Kashmir. And we are not afraid. Right? With regard to Kerala, I would only like to state one thing. Yes, Kerala was there. But Kerala has also found a path to secularism that is very strong. I was in Kerala for a month last year. And I can tell you one thing. In Kerala, you have a situation where there was only one BJP MLA and he lost in these days. So if we can make one BJP MLA in Kerala lose, and if the left can win 2 elections in a row, which never happened before, and then what happened? We got a governor in Kashmir sent by our Prime Minister. But what did I see when I was there? The governor gave a speech. And the governor said, "This is my government. This is my government." And I saw that the whole program was that of the Communist Party. Well, if we can make the governor of Kerala disciplined by simply peacefully defeating the BJP, let us do it all over the country. We will get a much better situation. And I am sure, Janta Malik hai aur koi malik nahi.
Thank you. No, he will be the last. Mohan, would you like to speak? Muzaffar, please speak. Mohan.
Finish in 2 lines. What is it?
We need to start a new discourse in Kashmir. And for that, we should leave the past baggage somewhere behind us. And as we can see, even here, we have not been able to do that. A new discourse cannot be, I've been seeing it, obtain meetings. Kashmiri Pandits unke saath bhi ye karna hai, unke saath bhi ye karna hai. This won't happen. We have to get to the ground and tackle that situation. If it happened with Kashmiri Pandits, why did it happen? There must have been something lacking in us, something infirm, something negative that made it happen. And we have to fight the satans, the devils in our own ourselves before we can tackle the devil outside. Thank you.
Yes, please. As long as it is not
question cropped up regarding education for children in India. I will only say it is more personal. I have one book which is entitled Up-to-Date School Essays in 4 languages: English, Hindi, Marathi, and Bengali. It has sold more than 3 million copies. And most of the educational principals, teachers, they have recommended. So such a book exists in the country which promotes unity and national integration. So it is already in the market. Such more books should be written so that we have a flux of students in the country. More than 1 crore and 20 lakh schools, 120 lakh schools. So let the process continue like this. Not only one book, it is hundreds, dozens and dozens. there will automatic, there will be national integration. You have to do something for the integration, not only speeches.
Unfortunately, we don't have both of them to on our sister. Is our sister. They just said something. Yeah. No time. No. They don't want to listen to the rebuttal. It's very, very, very unfortunate. Yes. So just wanted to say two things. That number one, very bad comment is that we have communal worms in our head. I have a Pandit brother here, one brother here, one right there, and one went away, pants up. And we are all great friends. And my brother there, we don't have communal worms in our head. None of us. I can tell you, no Muslim, no Pandit, no. But there are black sheep everywhere. So we can't, with one black sheep, the entire communities cannot be turned black. I wanted to tell my sister that. That's not correct. That's not correct use of words in a dignified forum where we are talking about finding out ways and means for a good future. That's one thing. Second is when you hear this abnormal wealth. My friend from BJP also said that. Yes. Families, my sister also said that. But nobody till date, right from our Honorable Prime Minister, down to him who was here or to my sister who was there, they can even raise one example and say, okay, here you are. This is what you did abnormally. None, nobody, till date. Okay, and we have given loan to Adani, 400 crores from J&K Bank. Anyway, so leave it there. Our this gentleman from the government earlier who was there, I fortunately had one piece of paper which I had written. That was something talked by the Maharaja of Kashmir, the regent, Dr. Karan Singh, who spoke in Rajya Sabha just 2 years back. And fortunately, I had that slip of paper with me once I was doing his. I had to come and I thought maybe it might be useful. It was in my pocket. What he said in the. Please stay back. What he said in the Rajya Sabha. Please, everyone should listen. I hope he was here, but he's not, so it doesn't matter. He was talking about what accession he was talking about, what was there read in the letter. What Dr. Karan Singh says in the parliament, very recently. I was in the room when accession was signed. And this is talking on the floor of the house. However, please remember something more. My father acceded for 3 subjects: defense, communication, and foreign affairs. He signed the same instrument of accession that all other princely states signed. All the other states subsequently merged, but Jammu and Kashmir didn't merge. Jammu and Kashmir's relationship with the rest of India is guided by Article 370 and the constitution that I signed into law. This is what Dr. Karan Singh says. The only state which negotiated in terms of accession and Article 370 Constitutional Order 1950 formalized that relation between the Union of India and the state of Jammu and Kashmir. It is a promise to the people of India, from the people of India to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, a sacred agreement, not a legal commitment alone. It is a political commitment translated into a constitutional guarantee arrived after protracted negotiations between 2 sovereign people. It is for every Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Bodh, Kashmiri Pandit, Pahadi, Gujar, that all form the Guldasta of Jammu and Kashmir. So it has, and this is constitution. Terrorism, constitution are 2 different matters. This is what I wanted to say. And also, Kashmir, integral part of it. It is mentioned in the Jammu and Kashmir Constitution, Article 1. Who disputes that? Nobody. Thank you very much.
Shaheen Saab would like to make a please.
Switch off.
Mike.
एक फारसी शेर है, तन हम दाग दाग शुद, हम कुजा कुजा नहीं, मेरा वजूद जरा जरा जख्मी हो चुका है, तो इस पर कहां से मरहम रख। That is our position now in Kashmir. दूसरा एक इससे बेहतर है, ये मीर या गालिब का है, इस दिल के टुकड़े हजार हुए, वो यहाँ गिरा। अरे भाई, ये जो आप इस मजलिस में बैठे हैं, आप एक दिल के टुकड़े हैं, एक कश्मीर का दिल, जो कश्मीरियत, और क्या बताऊं कितना टाइम लगेगा उसको एक्सप्लेन करने। जब मैंने आउटसाइड द कंट्री कुछ लोगों के साथ बात की, उन्होंने कहा हमें इसका पता ही नहीं, ये भी होता। तो खैर, इस दिल को जोड़िए, इस दिल के टुकड़े जो बिखरे हुए हैं, हमारी रूह में ये ताकत है कि इसको हम जोड़ सकते हैं और फिर धड़कता दिल बना सकते हैं। लेकिन ये नहीं हो सकता है कि एक दूसरे पे गालियां बोले, तेज कलामी करें। मैं माफी चाहता हूँ, मुझसे भी रहा नहीं गया, मेरी कुछ खसलत भी खराब है, तो नहीं होना चाहिए। जहां भी हम मिलने के लिए, कुछ करने के लिए बैठे, दिल के टुकड़ों को जोड़े और जबान को इतना प्यारा बनाए कि एक दूसरे के गले लगने में इंसान को देर नहीं लगेगी, तो फिर हम इकट्ठे होकर कर सकते हैं। दुश्मनी जम कर, मगर इस चीज का ख्याल रखे, कल को अगर दोस्त बन जाए तो शर्मिंदा ना हो।
Finest possible comment from A.R. Saab. Yes. Beautiful. May I now request Judge Saab to offer his comments in detail. Some हो गए? Anybody else wants to speak?
That's all. So thank you, sir. It is always an opportunity to just voice our grievances, voice our concerns, voice our disappointments and bitterness as well. That is why at times some comments come from this side or that side. So the comment that was made, normally as Bashir said, that we are expected to dilate on what is the way forward. Try to map out that how we should move ahead so that to come out of this present scenario. But the comment that was made by Mr. Alfonso, I think Mr. Alfonso. Alfonso. So that makes necessary to just have a comment on the background in which Jammu and Kashmir joined the Union of India. See, because it is necessary that any doubts that have been created must be dispelled. See, when every state joined Union of India on 15th August 1947, with a few exceptions, the two exceptions, Jammu and Kashmir was the only state that did not join, and the ruler was a non-Muslim, but still did not join. So you have to figure out what were the reasons. He knew that whatever the criteria was laid down, the guidelines were that made him, that the option for him was to join Pakistan. But he, having regard to the, the multicultural and multilingual and the composition of the state and multi-religious, he wanted to remain independent. He toyed with the idea of remaining independent, so that he thought that maybe Muslims as well as Kashmiris as well as Hindus from Jammu and Ladakh, they will find that acceptable. All said and done. When he did not join on 15th, he joined on 27th October. So as rightly pointed out by Mr. Shah and Shaheen also, he negotiated the terms of his, joining the Union of India and accession. I wish that Mr. Alphonse had also read the contents of the acceptance letter by Coronation session made with it. So what were the commitments made by him? And it was unlike any other state. It was not in respect of while exceeding any other state, such kind of comments were made, such kind of observations were made and commitments were made. So leave us at that. Then after Maharaja, she negotiated the terms of his joining the Union of India. Then he insists on these three conditions that I join, so you will have power to legislate on three subjects, and your executive power will also run up for these three subjects. One more important matter that I would request you to note is that on 18th November 1949, Maharaja Yuvraj was the only head of the state, Raj Pramukh, who did not adopt the Constitution of India in total. So that is why he said, as was pointed out by Mr. Shah, he said in Rajya Sabha that we did not merge, Jammu and Kashmir did not merge, but only became a part of India, joined the Union. So that is the background in which, because the question was raised, why did we give 370 or internal autonomy or special status to Jammu and Kashmir? This was the background. Having regard to the composition of the population, that all the criteria that was laid down to guide the states to join either of the two, those all the criteria indicated that Kashmir should join the other dominant that emerged after 1947. But leave that aside. Not only then, 1952 agreement. Article 370 is not to be seen in isolation. Then there was one more that reaffirmed 370. Now this is about the background that he said that what was the need to give 370. Second is that he said that why not to Kerala? But he forgets that he cannot, Mr. Alfonso cannot go to Manipur unless he's a permit. This inner line permit. He cannot go to Agartala. He cannot go to Nagaland. He cannot go to any of the states unless he has a permit, and he cannot stay for a period that is longer than what is written in that permit. So what about that? What about the in Northeast? It's not that Jammu Kashmir, because the question is raised that why should it be in case of Jammu and Kashmir? It was only last year in 2020 that Honorable Home Minister went to Nagaland, went to Manipur and said that I have got a power from Prime Minister for you. And that is ILP, inner line permit. Nobody really able to step in except unless he has a permit or stay for. So this is about that he said that why Kashmir also. Because it was negotiated and it was insisted on by Maharaja. Now see, people, there were some friends who raised that question is about that secular fabric and all that. See, Jammu and Kashmir, when after 1931, under leadership of Sher Kashmir, we fought against a system, not against a family. So, and a war of independence. And after 1947, it was from the same family that we had a Sadri as our president for 25 long years. I mean, unmindful of that he was from the family that, because essentially the war wasn't against the family, it was against the system. So having said that, now this is the background in which we got a special status or autonomy, much less than what is the autonomy that is presently enjoyed by Arunachal Pradesh from the place from where our law minister comes. And he says that whatever was done on 5th August, if somebody tells him that, are you ready to surrender ILP and internal autonomy given to the Arunachal Pradesh, state from which come, will he agree? So we have to understand the special status, the autonomy given to the Jammu and Kashmir in that background. Because we did give such kind of concession to other states as well. Now, let's come to 5th August. On 5th August, Jammu and Kashmir was stripped of this, denuded of this special status. See, without adhering to the constitutional mandate, the qualities that were given without adhering to the constitutional mandate, the spirit of the constitution, the letter of the constitution. Everybody in the room will agree with me that constitution does not give any power to the parliament to fragment a state, divide into 2 union territories or 3 union territories. Nowhere, neither it has been done ever since 1947, 1950 when a constitution came into force. कभी भी किसी state को कभी भी divide नहीं किया. This is because Article 3 does not permit you. Because Article 3, you can upgrade a unity to a state, but you cannot divide a state. Why? Because Article 1 says that India, that is Bharat, is a union of states. Every state has its stats. If you dismember a state, then the state loses its that identity, tashakus, is in the federal structure, because that is enjoyed by the state. You cannot fragment. If that force was available, then Parliament would dismember all the 29 states, convert into union territories. All the power comes to the union government, the Home Ministry. Had such an option been available, then it was Parliament, it was okay with the Parliament to divide all the states into union territories, and automatically the power would come to the Union Home Ministry, and they would rule. No, it is carved out. No, that is carved out. See, you cannot make a, for example, you can carve out one more state from an existing state, but that state remains. We have Andhra Pradesh, we carved out Telangana, but Andhra Pradesh is there on. Uttaranchal, but UP is there on. But Himachal, Punjab is there on. So that is one point. So that is how it was done. State dismembered. That is what is our case for the Supreme Court. And when we say that 370, it is not just the way the 370 was taken away. Now, please appreciate the Constituent Assembly kept 370 outside amending powers of the Parliament. Parliament did not have power to amend it. Had they intended that this would be a temporary provision, they would have very easily given the amending power to the Parliament. Parliament would have amended it, or Parliament would have modified it or abrogated it. No, they said not withstanding any provision of the Constitution. 370. This is or non-obstante clause. Not withstanding any, including 368. So when these are the legal constitutional aspects. Practically, you denuded a state with a history. After Mr. Rana, 5,000-year-old history, you denuded of its identity, and you bring it down to the level of a municipality. So whatever discussion we have, the fundamental question remains the identity that was guaranteed, the autonomy that was guaranteed to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and the integrity, territorial integrity. Now, the right to have its own constituent assembly was not given by anyone except the Constitution of India. And then once then 5th August decisions were taken. These were tried to be based on mistruths and marketed on mistruths. For example, Jammu and Kashmir had much better human development indices than the rest of the country. Per capita income, no farmer deaths, no starvation deaths, no farmer suicides. All the key institutions in place. It was on mistruths. And then ideologically, they said that no, it was because it had a promise made. Now, please tell me, in Constituent Assembly, was there a single vote cast against 370? Including that of, they say that no, it was a team of, say, one of our leaders. He was part of the cabinet and he was part of the Parliament, Constituent Assembly. Did he move an amendment? Did he cast his vote against it? So this decision of 5th August 2019 had no ideological background or factual background. So whatever was done, it was marketed on mistruths. Those mistruths had no standing as. Now, they said that no, 370 is the root cause. Once we do away with it, then everything will be good in Jammu and Kashmir. Has it been? Has it been? Last evening you must have heard about the incident in Bijbehara, Hasanpura Tavela, Udgam. is it violence free? On the first day of the day, we had the unfortunate incident of Rajuri. See, have we achieved anything? On ground, is these are things better? Now they come up with these are just tools to harass people, disempower people. These are the tools used like encroachment and attacks and all that. But the fundamental question is how to go for it, and what is the way forward? If last month, only last month in Manipur, Chief Minister inaugurated a portal, ILP portal, inner line permit. Now you can online apply for the permit. And if you can negotiate, you can reconcile, you can end insurgency in Northeast by reconciliation, by accepting their rights for land, for employment. Why don't you make, why are you shy of doing the same thing in case of Jammu and Kashmir? I mean, whatever, if you say one nation and one law and one constitution, why does that disappear? In case of Nagaland, in case of Bodo land territory, in case of other states in the north. So are we better off after 5th August 2019? The ground situation tells us no. So what is the way forward? What is the way forward? How to go ahead? See, you have not been able to cut it. Now you tell us that no, there are no stone pelting and all that. But you don't know that by your own admission, you have created a new species. You call them, they call them hybrid militants. So please, I don't know whether everyone in the room appreciates that what is this kind of a new development. They admit it, police admits that hybrid militant is a person who is running the shop, who is driving the vehicle, who is a who is a salesman somewhere, or has a small shop somewhere, but all the same, he is a militant, but it's a hybrid. He is running his, see, till now, we had someone known as a militant. Agencies as well as everybody are, if not all the people, but they had an input that this maybe he is inclined towards militants. But we have now, by their own admission, they say that there are hybrid militants. So what is hybrid militants? So what have we been better off? Have we come out of it? So what do we want? We want peace and respect for every individual, every community. Even Mr. Rana will say that what kind of love and affection we had. And even I say, even after January, really there is a Kashmiri Pandit marriage ceremony in Jammu, which is not attended by the neighbors from the place of origin, from their village. And hardly there is a marriage which is where we don't have food cooked by the Kashmiri cooks. Or even the music that we have not been, or fairly we have not broken those bonds at the societal level. But how to achieve it? Have you been able to? You have made an experiment for 4 years? No. So internal and external dimensions of the problem, including what Mr. Rana said or what Madam said, all the dimensions are to be addressed by internal dimensions, by dialogue, and external dimensions as well. Now, sir, yesterday we completed 2 years of peace at our LOC. It was 2 years. How did it come into being? Why? How did we acquire? How did we achieve this peace? You can hardly realize how life was hell for those people who were living near the border, and what kind of a respite this ceasefire has brought to them. But how did we achieve it? It was negotiation between our military director generals of military operations of the 2 countries. They entered into a deal and they made it public. They issued a joint statement. So if we can achieve that by dialogue, so why not? Why cannot we have a larger agenda for the dialogue? Because there's a habit that whoever says that you talk to one or two, talk to other, he says that no, there is no use. Then whom will you talk to? Then if that internal is with the civil society, with other political power, whoever is representing the people and you feel that he is representing the people, enter into dialogue with him. Otherwise, we will not reach him. It is true that we must have some reforms in education, some reforms elsewhere, but those reforms in context of Jammu and Kashmir will not bear the fruit. Now see, 35A did not give any rights to people of Kashmir. It was a protective umbrella that this would protect the laws that were enacted within the state for welfare of the people, welfare of the weaker sections, from a challenge under Chapter 3. And when Mr. Alphonse, when he said about all the about 370 was, why was it granted? He forgets that people of Jammu and Kashmir were not citizens of India till 1952, not even after 1947. It was only Delhi Agreement that was as secure as follow to the whatever was insisted on by the Maharaja, 1952, which was passed by the Parliament about on 5th August 1952. After a long debate, it was opposed and it was defended by Prime Minister. So this has its own background, its own history. Saying simply that why did we that was absurd and why did we give that? That is kind of, the statement is misplaced. It doesn't have roots in history. So how to go at, as Mr. Bashir said, and everybody says that this is the agenda, and that has been put up, Mr. Shah, not after 5th, because I have attended one of these conferences in Srinagar. It was much before 2019 in Hotel Commander. Yeah. So it was nobody that time anticipated or apprehended that our special status will go. He wanted to strengthen that relationship and the violence. But things have gone from bad to worse. So the only way forward is that government of India should realize, make an introspection. This conference, this platform is also an occasion to make an introspection. Said, what did we achieve? If they can go for such initiatives in Northeast, if the Home Minister can say that, no, this is a gift from, you did not ask for it, but I have got it was just a few weeks back. I have got a gift of our Prime Minister for you people of money and ended that insurgency. So why cannot we have some kind of these same issues? Then have the regional, then have from Jammu, then have from Kashmir, from Ladakh, because I want to hold him with us. So then have this composite, have internal autonomy for the other regions. Though, as I said, that it is singular about Kashmir, that after fighting a rule, autocratic rule, the same family, he was the head of the state for 25 long years. And who was the chairman of our constitutional drafting committee? It was Mr. Gidari Dogra. It was not from Kashmir, it was not something he meant for Kashmir or done for Kashmiris or done for Muslims. Father-in-law for Mr. Arun Jaitley late, who drafted the constitution. And now, I ask it because we have learned people who have a lot of experience at them. What about the constitution? The constitution that was enacted by Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, what about that constitution? Where has that gone? Has that disappeared? Parliament does not have power to abrogate the constitution. Only a Constituent Assembly is to be convened. Is there nowhere? That constitution was enacted in tune with the mandate of the Constitution of India by the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. Nobody has abrogated that. That is still there. So I think my motion would be that government of India should make an introspection, see what they have achieved, and when they do their sums, they will realize that they have not achieved anything at all. Mr. Militancy is there. Please tell me, when they build up a narrative of everything is normal. Whereas, Mr. said, our 500 employees in Jammu on strike, they don't want to go back to Kashmir, their respective places. Why not? Because they have concerns about their security. If yesterday an incident could take place in Kulgam, we get an employee posted from Jammu. He will definitely be scared that what is going on. So why? And second is that even after 1990s, Kashmiri Punjabis who stayed back, now they are now we have trickle away. Now they move back. Who stayed for 30 years. A few of them may not be everyone, but a good number of them move back. So what kind of normalcy you just give, build up a narrative of normalcy when your own employees do not want to go there because you have not been able to create that security scenario for them that would make them comfortable to go and serve in Kashmir. So what kind of narrative? It is kind of self-defeating. It is just neck in the sand mindset. So I think that we, government of India, who have been insisting, should review and not feel shy of course correction, making a course correction. They made an they said that no, it is everything is because of 370. They now realize that no, it is not because of 370. And that would be, I think, that would enable us to have create that peaceful atmosphere in the market. Otherwise, it will be elusive. Otherwise, we may not be able to, at least as what I understand, and what our experience of the last 4 years tells us. And now doing this, using every opportunity as a weapon. Now they may have some different plans that how to achieve it, but they have to realize that those plans maybe that those successful elsewhere cannot be successful in Jammu and Kashmir because of special circumstances. Maybe those plans may be elsewhere in the world. They might have succeeded or say borne some fruit, some dividends, but in Jammu and Kashmir, geopolitical situation, those kind of decisions will not help. And we will leave country bleeding. And then what's the result? You don't know what kind of financial mismanagement because of this. Because when there is an uncertainty, we all the vices crop up. You know, the resources that rightfully belong to the people of India, to the lower sections of society, lower strata of society, to have-nots, are being misallocated on security. That what could be done for in social justice sector, that is being misused and misallocated in keeping a calm, and the calm is sannata. It's not peace, but between sannata and peace. So this is my view that how we should enter in a dialogue at place like this. What should that lead to? And restore the rights, the property rights, the employment rights. Now Jammu is disturbed, Ladakh is disturbed, and Ladakh, I heard the people from Ladakh say that we are better off on publicly. The environmental, that Sonu, he said that we were better off. So because it was accommodated, it was not like what kind of is being impression is being given. I told you that. Do you know who was the largest supporter of this? This 370. The who created the slogan? There was a Kashmiri Pandit leader. Who told people that no, 370 is kind of a lifeline in Kashmiri, a slogan that he used. So it was who were architects of this. It was not just one single person, or it was not meant for one single community. Here now, today, people of Jammu are up in arms because their employment rights are gone, their resources are being taken away, and they say that no, whatever has been done to you, done to Jammu and Kashmir has brought more harm to Jammu than to Kashmir. So if we want to have that harmony, regional harmony, that peace, I think in my view, the only way is that be brave enough. You know, Lord Krishna went to Kauravas, said that give only 5 villages to Pandavas. And the king said that no, not even the place that on which we can hold the tip of a needle. And then see what was the outcome. So there is no reason to adhere to the arrogance, persist with the arrogance. Please go ahead and so thank you very much.
Just we will adjourn for tea. Before that, of course, my colleague Sushil will propose vote of thanks and invite you. That Justice Saab did not accept of speaking in the beginning. Now, two people would have also heard you speaking. The message that you conveyed was also important. I wish you had accepted my in any case, it's on record. So, thank you very much. Good job. Each one of us will join. I'm sorry. 40. This is outside. As you enter out of the room, on the right side.
Okay.
So she's your turn.
I would like to thank all of you for sparing your valuable time and be here. Thanks to all of you from Center of Peace and Progress. We had a very fruitful session and a lot of ideas. And as it is with the heterogeneous section, there are bound to be some sparks flying. We've seen it in the past, but I guess that's part of life. We have to be open to reality. And we have to look at different perspectives. Everybody has a different, there's no right or wrong, but there are different perspectives, and we have to be open enough to accept other perspectives. Having said that, I would say that the takeaways of today's session, I would just list down a couple of takeaways. The very first thing is restoration of democratic process. And maybe for a common man, the democratic process means elections. He would not understand democracy until and unless it is. For him, democracy means an elected representative. Also, there's a necessity of dialogue across all sections. And as Dr. Rana pointed out very clearly, there has to be a thought of return and rehabilitation. There has to be a thought of inclusion. If we're talking about a pluralistic society, we have to include everybody. There has to be a proper inclusion. And he's made a very good point about relook at the minority commission, the minority rights of a smaller community. So, and I think we all need to leave the past baggage back and start looking afresh. What happens forward and how do we progress forward? Thank you. And we'll have more sessions like this in the future. And last but not least, I think we spent a lot of time debating on August 19 and 370. But bottom line is that nothing has changed before or after 370. It's not impacted a common person. For people like me and you, there was problem before 370, there's still problem after 370. Thank you.
So the last session we had in 2019, we had a lawyer from Kashmir, Babar Qadri. This is how we had to sympathize. He attended, he was sitting, I was just looking at Rana Saab. He sat on the same chair and he was as emotical and as as Rana Saab. So, so Babar Qadri, he got shot dead. He was killed. Yes, I guess you had conveyed.
So thank you. Let's all meet in the room outside for tea.
So they discriminate. Killers. A friend of mine. Nice, good. No problem.